Hey friends, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I am Mr. Lami Chane Gurung. I did buy more today at $59. And before we start this video, I would like to request to each and everyone to please share this video to as many people as possible and subscribe to my YouTube channel if you haven't already, because today I'm going to talk about the psychological aspect of investing using my experience and my example, and hopefully by the end of this video you can start thinking like a long-term investor and not gamble your money away in 10%, 5% gains here and there. Above all, always think before you sink. Okay, here you can see on the screen, this is a chart of the Bitcoin in its early days. That was like 7 to 8 years ago, where Bitcoin started in the one-digit territory. So within a matter of months, the price of Bitcoin shoots up to $229 from around $30. Then in the next phase, it cools off and comes down to almost $68 bottom. And now, did it sound familiar to you? Plus, there will only be 1 million token in circulation, unlike Bitcoin has done about 18.7 million in circulation. And as a matter of fact, when it comes to real life use, Bitcoin, according to me, is still taken as an asset. Go check the facts if you don't believe me. Okay, so coming back to the graph, when people get tired after 5 months, it starts taking off again, the Bitcoin, and reaches up to 200, then again comes down to the low three digits territory. Okay, stays for a while, and guess what, a hockey stick pattern to the moon. This is the pattern that it follows all the time, and now 7 years later its price has reached up to $60,000. So tell me, did it really matter if you bought it at $1 or $100 or even $200 7 years ago? I mean, you can't even see the graph from the moon now, can you? However, moving on to our next point, about 2 years ago, I bought my first Bitcoin when it crashed to around $3,000 level. So if you see the chart, the FOMO chart, Bitcoin was at around $3,000 and everyone was kicking the can down the road. Like, people used to make faces even if you wanted to start a conversation about Bitcoin. So everyone was in a despair, everyone was fed up as well. Then when we had our initial take off, it reached around 13k level. Then it fell to about 6k level due to the COVID and all that situation. Even though I was making money, on the back of my mind, I was stressed after the first sell off, and of course there was COVID, market crash, second wave, riots about Floyd's case and all that fear. FUD, the so-called FUD was there. So what happens was, I was convinced that I would sell all my Bitcoins if it reaches back to 13k level, and I did so, when it reached eventually to 13k level. And guess what happens next? Bitcoin cruises down the previous high of 18k level and reaches a new all-time high of 60k. So if I had the patience, I would have made 20 times on my initial investment in about 2 years time instead of just 4 times. But it is what it is. Similarly, I'll give you another example. Tesla, this is last year as well. I got into Tesla pre-split at around $250 about 2 years ago. And when Elon Musk, there were all situations when Elon Musk smoked weed, in the Joe Rogan podcast, the price of Tesla briefly fell as well. When it was, it did have delay on its production, the price again fell as well. So there was back and forth, you get the point as well. When it came, to last year, when the Cybertruck was made public, and when it was launched, one of the windows, it did shatter, and the second window also shattered during the demonstration phase. bear in mind this was all broadcasted live, so everyone saw it. So the next morning the price tumbled to almost below $200. Then what happened is, after a few weeks, guess what, again a hockey stick pattern, and all the way up to $900. Tesla price reached all the way to $900. Of course, we had the pandemic again, and the price fell back to $300. I think it was even below $300 in a matter of weeks. So again, I was convinced that I was to sell all my Tesla shares if it was to reach the $900 again. So I sold most of my Tesla shares a few months later, and today, in less than about a year later, Tesla is almost $3,200 price if it wasn't for the split. See, the moral of the story is that if you have a nice stock or a crypto and you really believe in its fundamentals, or if you really believe the public is gonna get behind it, you should have a proper conviction onto it. Maybe a factor of your holding, or maybe a fraction of your holding should be left out for trade, but you will always be better off holding it for the long term instead of trading it. So again, I don't see a point if you buy at this point at $1, $50, or $200. The number of hodlers, they are increasing every day. Okay, the number of believers, they are increasing every day. The demand is increasing every day. Now, because when it reaches the top 10 rankings, that's what I think is gonna reach, at least according to market cap wise. If it reaches to the top 10 rankings of cryptos, you won't even be able to see that and $10, $5 later on anymore. All these FUDs will kill your gains, trust me, in the long term. Now, having said that, I always say, I am Mr. Alami Chane Gurung, and always think before you sink. Goodbye, my friends.